All right. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited to have everyone. And as usual, I want to start with people who are new with us or who haven't introduced themselves lately to kind of introduce themselves. And Tiana, I recognize, I think this is your first time with us, and I wondered if you wanted to jump in and introduce yourself, or I know sometimes you may not have audio or camera, but welcome, Tiana.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tiana Mitchell. I am a community development program specialist with Kern County Child Support. I believe we also have our new program specialist, Melissa Aaliyah Gonzalez, as well, if she's in here.
Great, perfect. Okay, Tiana. Did I get that now? Okay. I like to pronounce correctly, so okay. Thank you. And Melissa, would you like to jump in and introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Melissa. I am a new program specialist with the Department of Child Support. I just started this week, so I'm excited to keep meeting with all of you.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Let's see. Who else would like to introduce themselves? Hasn't been here before or is pretty new with us? I think Yarnell, I don't recognize that you've been with us before.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, I'm Yarnell. I work in the Seniors Law Center at Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance. I'm really happy to be here and meet everybody. One thing that we do here at the Seniors Law Center, Greater Bakersfield Legal Assistance, anyone that's 60 years and older, regardless of income, we assist with legal issues free of charge.
Yeah. And you said that's 60 and older?
Yes, 60 and older.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being with us, Yarnell.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, who else is new with us or hasn't introduced themselves in a while? BJ, I don't know if you're in a position where you can jump on and introduce yourself, but I think that that you might be new to some people.
Oh, yeah, to unmute myself. Good morning, everyone. My name is BJ Sadie. I'm your field rep for District 2 under Supervisor Scrivener, and I'm also your president of Chamber of Commerce for the Mountain Communities.
Great. Thanks for being with us, BJ.
You're welcome.
Let's see. And Natasha, I know you joined us last month, but I can't recall if you introduced yourself. I think you did, but I know you're pretty new with us. So
yes. Hi. Good morning. My name is Natasha Franklin Brooks, and I am here with Kern. Excuse me. I'm in Kern County. I'm sorry. I'm here with Clinica Sierra Vista, and I am the new program supervisor for our DR program, which we get referrals from Kern County CPS, and we work with families to support them in their family goals. So the family create goals for them along with the social workers may have like a specific goal that they want our case managers to work with the family on, but then once they go in the home, they may find other concerns or other goals that families would like to work on. And so our case managers also execute those goals with the family, but the family create their family plan.
great. Thank you, Natasha. And I'm working with Carrie. I'd love to have a whole presentation
Yes.
from differential response, because I think that's
Yes.
not something that even my advocates are very familiar with. So
Yeah. So so we're working on that. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. And as always, we'll have some time at the end where everyone can have a chance to share anything they're working on or upcoming events or things like that. But let's jump into our presentation today. Is from Betty Hendricks, who is with Aging and Adult Services. So she's going to give us an overview of Aging and Adult Services and some of the different things that they do.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. And
Okay. Can you see the presentation or no?
so I see the PowerPoint, and then
Okay,
don't
how about now?
there we go. We got the full
Okay, fantastic.
Perfect.
All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for being here. Today, I'll be giving you an overview of the services offered by Aging and Adult Services. My name is Betty Hendricks. I am a program technician and HICAP counselor with Kern County and Aging and Adult Services. There'll be lots of material to cover today, but first, I want to start by reading our mission statement. Let me know, Lindsay, if you can see it, okay?
Yeah, we're seeing it turn, so it's perfect.
Fantastic. Our mission is to provide services that protect, preserve the dignity, and support the independence and safety of all older adults and disabled individuals in our community. Our vision is to improve the quality of life for all older adults and disabled individuals through innovative and technological solutions. In today's presentation, I'll give you an overview of all our programs, including Information and Referral Program, Senior Healthy Living Program, Fall Prevention Program, Adult Protective Services, Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program, In-Home Supportive Services, Emergency Food Referrals, and Digital Divide. The Information and Referral Program helps seniors with disabilities and their families identify, access programs and services to meet their specific needs. The Senior Information Referral Program is a one-stop shop. Most of our incoming calls are received at our call center, and depending on the needs of the caller, we provide information or initiate a referral program within our agency or refer the caller to a program or agency within our community. So we can assist the caller with almost anything, including nutrition resources, low-income housing, homemaker agencies, adult daycare facilities, transportation services, utility assistance programs, home modification, home repairs, and even property tax postponements. Our offices are open to the public by appointment only, but most of the referrals and services we provide can be initiated without the client coming into our office. If the client wants to make an appointment, we will determine the need for one and either schedule them to come in. Most of the time, everything can be handled over the phone. We also conduct outreaches at 13 senior centers located within rural areas in our county. Each one of our call center staff is assigned to a location once a month and some every other month. And they visit the centers and bring information on programs or assist seniors on site. I really enjoy that, by the way. We also provide assistance with reading and filling out forms if clients are unable to read or write or have a disability that prevents them from filling it out themselves. We certainly can assist them with that. Now we move on to the next program. Senior Living, Healthy Living Program. Aging and Adult Services has partnered with USDA, California Department of Aging, and University of California Cooperative Extension of Kern County, and the Community Action Partnership of Kern County to provide nutrition and physical activity in education to low-income seniors. The program helps individuals age 60 and over to establish healthier eating habits and a more physical active lifestyle. Nutrition and physical activity classes held virtually or by phone via Zoom, workshops presented in the following topics: eat healthy, be active, eat smart, live, live long, food smarts for older adults, and rethink what you drink. As you can see, we do a few options with virtual classes to choose from. The classes will demonstrate healthier eating habits, tips for seniors to make their meals healthier, and how to measure their food, how to read labels, in addition to low impact exercise and balance classes, which leads us to the next program. Fall prevention. Aging and Adult Services contracts with Around the Clock Foundation to provide the fall prevention program. The mission of the program is to reduce number of debilitating falls suffered by older adults and persons with disabilities. Current Around the Clock Foundation will provide fall and injury prevention information, education, referral services, equipment assessment to determine the need for grab bars, ramps, shower chairs. They will even provide materials and subsidize labor costs to individuals who are 60 years of age or older, or individuals with disabilities and who are at risk at falling. If you know anyone who is at fall risk and may be interested in receiving these services, please contact our office at 661-868-1000. The next slide. Adult Protective Services is a voluntary program that investigates allegations of abuse, neglect, and exploitation of elder and disabled in the community. For those willing to accept services, APS social workers will go out to their home of the alleged victim and ensure their safety while living in their home by providing appropriate resources if necessary report crimes to law enforcement. A referral can be made to our 24-hour hotline. Usually reports are made by neighbors, family members, friends, or mandated reporters. Typically, once APS receives the report, it is screened and case will be assigned to a social worker. Depending on the severity of or emergency, the social worker can immediately start working on the case, contacting those that are involved. The APS worker will go out to assess the situation and determine if the allegations have any merit. Elder and dependent abuse is an umbrella term. Several types of abuse can occur, like physical, financial, abandonment, isolation, and neglect. The most common cases we deal with are self-neglect. These are the cases where for some reason the person in the home and they are unable to meet their needs, or they just want someone to help them out. Then the social worker will go out and try to assist them to the best of their ability to alleviate the situation, whatever it may be, ensuring the safety of the individual. The eligibility criteria for services will be individuals aged 60 or older and individuals aged 18 to 59 with a physical or mental disability. Some of the red flags we tell people is to watch out for unexplained bruising, dehydration, malnutrition, or under or overly medicated, lack of cleanliness or grooming, fear of the caregiver, and sudden change into their mental status. Another good rule of thumb is, when in doubt, report. Even if you are not 100% sure, a report will initiate the contact from our office. To report abuse, you can call 661-868-1006 or visit our website and use our online reporting tool. Next slide. HICAP, Health Insurance Counseling and Advocacy Program. I'm sure most of you know someone, either a friend or family member, who is receiving Medicare. As many of you know, Medicare can be complex and confusing to everyone, which is why HICAP offers free counseling, education, and assistance to all Medicare beneficiaries who need assistance navigating and understanding their Medicare rights and benefits and supplemental plans. Prescription drug plans. Prescription drug coverage, understanding long-term care insurance, and appealing Medicare claims. HICAP is part of the National Network of State Health Insurance Assistance Program, also known as SHIP, and it's the most dependable source of unbiased and accurate Medicare-related information. In addition to providing counseling, HICAP will assist beneficiaries with Medicare plan comparisons and educate them so they can make the informed decision before they enroll into a plan. HICAP services are provided by highly trained volunteer counselors who are registered with the California Department of Aging and receive their training from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, CMS, to assist seniors and disabled adults and their families with free, unbiased Medicare counseling. Part of the services offered by HICAP include new to Medicare orientations and review of coverage options, comparison of prescription drug plans, Medicare health plans and supplemental plans, preventative benefit education, application assistance for Medi-Cal, Medicare Savings Program, and Extra Help, Medi-Cal share of cost elimination for Medi-Medi, which is Medicare Medi-Cal beneficiaries, Medicare rights and how to appeal denials, detection, prevention, and reporting of Medicare fraud. It is important to mention that HICAP does not sell, endorse, promote, or recommend commercial insurance products and services. Let's continue. In-Home Supportive Services program provides personal household services to aged and blind and disabled individuals who have limited ability to care for themselves, but who could live in their own home with some help. Referrals are made by phone only. Once the referral is made, it will be assigned to a social worker who will do an assessment and determine the client's needs and how many hours they will be allocated for their care. Once the client is approved for services, they can request a list of care providers who are registered through our agency. The client or client's representative will hire a provider off the list if the client doesn't already have one. Most of the time we have providers who are family members, such as daughters, sons, spouses, or friends. The family member can register to become a provider and will be compensated to provide that care. What we see often are family members having to quit work or reduce work hours due to having to care for their family member. This program would also help supplement some of the income that the care provider is no longer receiving. Services offered: cleaning house, changing bed linens, laundry, meal preparation and cleanup, food shopping, and other errands. Personal care services such as help with bathing and grooming, dressing, eating, getting in and out of bed, moving around one's home, medications, and escorting to medical appointments, and alternative resource. This is a Medi-Cal funded program. As we've seen on the previous slide, the services are custodial and not medical. For this reason, the services are not covered by insurance. If persons applying does not have Medi-Cal at the time the referral is initiated, the HICAP program, as part of their intake process, will assist the client with initiating a Medi-Cal application request to Department of Human Services, DHS. Once they receive the application, it's up to the client to follow through with the application process with DHS directly. To be eligible for IHSS, the applicant must be a California resident, 65 years or older, or legally blind and disabled. Applicant lives on their own home. Be eligible for Medi-Cal. They must need assistance to remain safely in their home. The form SOC 873, a health care certification form, must be completed by the client's treating physician. Anyone can initiate a referral by calling 661-868-1003. The next slide, emergency food referrals. Our office offers emergency food referrals and a few programs for seniors who are in need of additional food resources. Referrals to the Golden Empire Gleaners can be provided by our agency every 6 months. These referrals are intended for emergency situations where clients are having a financial hardship and unable to purchase their own food due to unforeseen circumstances. Some of the financial hardships we often encounter are cars breaking down, high PG&E bills, unexpected home repairs, hospital bills, and so on. Since we can only call in referrals to the Gleaners every 6 months, we do encourage clients to take advantage of other programs like food stamps, food pantries, and food distribution sites. Requirements: has not received a referral in the last 6 months, be 60+ years of age, have an unforeseen circumstance that caused a financial hardship, and cannot afford to purchase food at the moment, please call us before 11:30 a.m. and pick the food basket up at the Gleaners Warehouse no later than 1:30 p.m. that same day. In addition to providing the emergency referral, we also offer the client information on Senior SAT program, which is also offered through the Gleaners, but the client can pick up food twice every month with a one-time $3 registration fee. Let's move on. Digital divide. We have now reached our last program called Digital Divide. This innovative program targets isolated seniors 60s plus and teaches them to use technology available to them. The clients don't need to own an iPad or tablet. Our Office ASD can provide these plus internet services to those that are interested in learning. Learn to use the internet to find information, news, connect to services, create an email, video conference with doctors, families, and friends, how to use Facebook and Instagram or online banking, how to get a ride with Uber and Lyft, order food or groceries through Uber, DoorDash, Instacart, or your favorite stores. And with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you all for attending, and I hope the information was useful. And if there's any questions, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Betty. Yeah, Kathleen, you want to jump in? And
Oh, that was quick. Yes, all these services, thank you for your presentation. But all these services sound like they're more geared towards Bakersfield and not so much for the mountain communities. For instance, in how IHSS, it's very difficult to get people up here in the mountains. Do you have plans to expand it so that there's more people available to help out up here?
You know, that's an excellent question. If need be, Lindsay, if you want the department IHSS and you can address it with them in terms of a presentation, I don't know if in the past, I think you have had them. They would be definitely the ones to give you more information on that. I wasn't realizing that you had any issues out there when it came to the care providers.
yeah,
Oh,
we have had IHSS present before, and actually that actually leads into something that I wanted to share, which is that the MCFRC, we have a new part of our website, and I wanted to share that real fast. For those who aren't really familiar with our website, this is our MCFRC website, and right up here in resource guides, we have a caretaker directory. And so these are people, local people who have, some of them are private cares and some of them are IHSS. And so we have been able to kind of refer people to this. We have both those who are doing it privately and then, you know, a list of our IHSS caregivers. So definitely there's a challenge sometimes, no doubt about it. We are trying to kind of spread the word about this though. And we sometimes have IHSS providers locally that ask us, you know, do you, you know, have you heard of anyone? So we put them on this list. So so yeah, I hope that's helpful too, to know that we now have that caregiver directory on our website as a resource for people.
great, thank you.
Yeah. John.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, Kathleen, that it's not so much a problem of expanding the program. It's just unfortunate that the people that want to work the area, and so just getting creative with getting lists, and you know, going on Facebook. Like in the Ridgecrest area, there's a really active group out there that started a care provider list for the area, because the people that get registered through the IHSS program, fill out an application, and then they choose what areas they're willing to work in. So it's not so much the program, it's the people that want to work in designated areas.
And I wanted to add something too on that one. Kathleen, so when we encounter people too, that is one of the things when they're looking for work up here that we push a lot of people towards. So I have a few people right now who are doing the videos and they're waiting for an orientation. So even here, we're trying to grow the list. When we talk about IHSS with someone who, you know, could receive services, we also talk to them. Do you know anybody who's already caretaking? Because it's as easy as me showing them how to become a provider. And so we're definitely pushing it, but we got a few in the back burner right now.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing I wanted to say related to like services being available up in the mountains versus in Bakersfield. I have talked to someone who's in charge of the Digital Divide program, and they are willing to send someone up to the mountain communities, up to a senior's home with a device and help them learn how to use it, which I thought was fantastic. So we want to make sure people are aware of that too. If they have, you know, a senior in the area that would be interested in receiving a device, learning how to use it, they'll come up to the mountain communities for that. Yeah. Other questions for Betty? There was one question that I had, Betty, and I don't know if this would be more something we need to call that referral line, but I was curious about the transportation resources and what kind of fell under that. Again, just thinking about whether that's something that would benefit if it's more in Bakersfield, or if it does, there's some transportation resources that apply to the outlying areas.
Lindsay, unfortunately, yeah, it's kind of pretty much here in Kern County. I'm hoping that they expand more and more. And as time goes on, I believe they will eventually reach out further than, but there is right now a designated area in Bakersfield or Kern County.
Got it.
I have one more too that I saw. The low income housing that I saw in that number, is there anything that's specifically for seniors? I just kind of saw it on that referral list, or if that is just like the housing vouchers through Housing Authority.
Chelsea, who were you directing that to?
Oh, to you. Sorry, that's to you, Betty.
Yeah. What was that again? I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I saw on that referral list that they had low income housing or something that was like that. Is that just like a voucher, or is there something specific for seniors that help them pay their rent, or something that you guys provide like that?
You know, we have so many programs there. If they just give us a call, we can do the research for them for their exact need. I think that would be probably the best way to attack this, really. Because sometimes they'll call in and they really don't quite know, and because they don't know the resources that we have here. But yeah, just go ahead and have them and call in, and we can just go ahead and do the research on that for them. Either way, we're going to help them. Trust me.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Any other questions for Betty before we move on to our next topic? All right. Yeah, appreciate that. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is we started a discussion about mental health on the mountain last month, and I wanted to kind of continue that. And I'm going to share, if anyone wants to pop open the document, you can. Kind of the way my mind works, we had some great discussions surfacing some issues last month, and I needed to kind of, organize my thoughts and organize some of the information that we talked about. And so this document that I shared in the chat and that I'm showing right now was my attempt to do that. And you can see I have different tabs for seniors, adults, teens, and kids. And I took some of the things that were shared related to each age group and tried to consolidate so that and you know, part of my my thinking on this was trying to think through as a collaborative, if we want to create kind of an initiative or something that we're going to be working on, I wanted to see, you know, what are we identifying as gaps, and things that we, what age groups, you know, for example, do we feel like have, you know, more resources available to them related to mental health. And so each of those tabs is kind of my effort to pull together what we talked about last month for the different ages. I also, I really enjoyed spending some time at Fraser Mountain High School this last month at their career fair. I was able to have conversations with, you know, several different students who really brought up mental health. They were drawn to our table maybe because they're in therapy or they're interested in therapy, wanted to know how the Family Resource Center interacts with that. But I added a couple of things that they talked about with me, just telling me that there's some students who came back physically from COVID and are back at school, but just didn't really re-engage fully. And then the other thing that some of the teens talked about was just a lack of activities. You know, some of them told me, look, my friends and I, we all think about like, you know, wanting to leave the mountain. Like we don't want to stay on the mountain because there's just not enough to do. And that impacts our mental health. So those were a couple of other other things that came up. And one of the things that I really thought about from that is the MCFRC, we're kind of doing some things around kids' mental health, and we're doing some things around adults, and we have our senior advocate, but we're not, as a Family Resource Center, doing very much around teens. And doesn't mean that we need to do that immediately, but it was just good for me to kind of observe that gap. And so one of the things that I wanted to do, though, for those that are kind of jumped into this, I wanted to kind of ask the question first of, if we're going to sort of look at these different groups, what other groups do we need to engage locally that might be able to shed some light from their perspective on mental health with these different groups? I just as an example, as I was preparing this and thinking about what was shared at the last meeting, I was thinking about, you know, Meals on Wheels, and there's an AARP group, and there's Senior SAC, and maybe I needed to reach out a little bit more and find out, you know, what kind of mental health implications are you seeing as you're serving people? And I know, Kathleen, you're here right now in this meeting, and I would love to know if you had any thoughts on specifically with our seniors, anything that in your process of doing Meals on Wheels that you reflect as kind of mental health challenges that you're observing.
There are a lot of seniors up here in the mountain who live very isolated lives. They're estranged from their families, and they don't have much of an income, and they suffer from, I would say, I'm not trying to diagnose them, but bipolar, some are schizophrenics. They go off their meds, they go back into the emergency room, they come back, and I can think of at least two gentlemen who passed away in the last year who were in very dire straits. It just seems that one problem is they don't seek out the care themselves. They don't have an advocate who will seek out the care for them. And, you know, Meals on Wheels, what we do if we find somebody like that, we try to call it in or get someone's attention, but it doesn't always seem to even get the problem started towards a solution. It's a sad thing up here. People have come up here because they have no other place.
Yeah, and that kind of it brought to my mind as I was doing this, Jennifer, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I was curious because you were sharing about, that rise in schizophrenia, that rise in bipolar. And I was just curious if that's sort of a younger adult set or if your clinic has very many seniors that you're working with.
We definitely do have seniors. I wouldn't say quite a bit, but we do have quite a few seniors that do come to our clinic or that we go and do home services, out in the field services with them. I'm trying to think in the senior population that we have, we're seeing more of like the depression in the senior, anxiety. We do have I'd say a couple to a few clients that are schizophrenic, but we're seeing the ones that are here in our clinic are more of your like younger, maybe like 20s, 30s, where it's just coming out. And they're just trying to deal with it now, and they still have the family support at this point. I think it definitely gets harder as they get older because families, unfortunately, sometimes don't want to deal with it anymore, get tired of the back and forth to hospitals. Yeah, so that's what we're seeing here pretty much with the trend with schizophrenia and then in the senior age as well.
Thanks. Yeah, and one thing that the MCFRC, we were thinking about this, and that, when COVID, at a certain point during COVID, when it was seeming like it was calming down a little bit, and then we kind of had these different waves, but we had been thinking about kind of a senior day, a gathering, just because of that isolation, like what you were describing, Kathleen. We see the financial stress of living on a fixed income, the isolation. So we were thinking about a kind of senior day activity. And I'd love any feedback from the collaborative on that, how you think that would be received or how that could best be executed. There are some other, senior events as well. AARP is doing their senior exercise and their senior SAC. And ours would be focused a little bit on just like a social gathering. But really curious if anyone has any thoughts on that, or feel free to type into the chat or just jump on.
I think it's a great idea. I think what I always find is just the lack of knowledge, right? So a lot of seniors just don't know who to call, right? So for example, right now, and probably a good time to mention this with our weather, because there was a big emergency meeting today for the upcoming storm that's on its way next week. So for example, Aging Angel Services provides through the APS program, the Adult Protection Services program. We'd like to know who those vulnerable seniors are, so that if the power goes out up in the communities, without them having to call us because for whatever reason they can't because the power's out, we'll go check in on them and take battery packs, so that if they have like oxygen machines, and we can keep giving them those services. So that's something really important. So I think it would be a great idea to do that so that we can go up and kind of share that information with those communities.
Thanks. Yeah, and Kathleen, you had your hand up.
Okay, John, that's a great idea, but how do we go and find these people? We don't have like a local government, or the Family Resource Center doesn't have the resources to go out and find all these people. How would we do this? Do you have an idea of how we could initiate it? Because that would be great, particularly like in light of the storms that we had, knowing who would need immediate assistance during the storms. I just don't know how we could even initiate something like that here in the mountain community.
Usually what our agency does is, as soon as we know what areas are at greatest risk, like just recently with the floods, we were calling, because we have a list of people that at some point in time have been reported to APS. So we started calling all of them to make sure that they had a plan in case they did get flooded. Did they have somebody that was going to take them out and take them to the shelters? So we're always actively doing that. But if they've never been on our radar, then it would just be members like from the community, them calling us and letting us know, hey, there's a storm coming, get a hold of Adult Protective Service and let them know that, you may need energy because you have oxygen or something like that, or you don't have a way to get to a shelter if need be. So that's something you do. If they don't have, we post on social media, Aging Adult Services posts on social media, always giving people the heads up. We also go on the local news. And then if there's like one of those, I've seen them in Shafter and other places where they have like those little local coffee table type of conversation starters and put little ads in there. As long as we know about those, our department is really good about putting ads in those so that people know where to call. And that's the best that we can do because we can't unfortunately hit everybody. But it's just us knowing where people are, but some people, we have to also keep in mind that some people want to respect their privacy and want others to respect their privacy, and they don't want other people to know that they're in this community. So that's there lies the issue always with our agency, because it's voluntary, right, to want to receive help and assistance, and maybe us as concerned citizens want to help our community members. The problem is that if they don't want the help, they're in their complete right to deny the assistance.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we have actually been working on a little project with PMC POA because we have a seniors aging in place project. And so during the last storm, our senior advocate, Claudia, did call the clients that we've worked with in PMC to ask them if they were okay, and also to get permission to be added to kind of an evacuation list, or one that you would need assistance in the event of an event like that, or a fire or things like that. So that's something that we are trying to work on. And I would love to do that for not just the PMC area, of course, but more broadly for at least us to be able to, and I know the Chamber of Commerce as well, and Supervisor Scrivener's office has talked about kind of an emergency response plan. So, but I want to shoot over to Mike Buckland. Thank you for joining us. And I know this is a topic that is you're very passionate about, so I would love to hear your thoughts.
Hi, everyone. I never get to make it to these things, and I was on my way to a job, and I thought I would chime in, and it happened to be right in the area that I was interested in. Yes. Just want to speak to what John was saying. There is CERT, who's a FEMA-backed agency of volunteers, and there is the four-wheel drive clubs and quite a few other people like myself. I live in a section of our area that's its own kind of little canyon, and we watch out for our seniors. But I wish I would know who needed the help. Like, we have the vehicles, we have the manpower, we have the capability to access these people and to work as a volunteer army, but we don't know what to do. And so if there was a way to get all these people together, on the other hand, to your earlier point, my sister-in-law is a social worker for APS in another county, and transferred there from CPS a few years ago. And the unique difference is that they completely lack power and authority. With adults, they basically can't do anything unless that adult volunteers. And in a case of mental illness where maybe they don't have that capacity, the social worker that is the frontline person that sees that person loses all capability as soon as they turn them over to psychiatry, because that psychiatrist that's working for the county or whatever that situation is then has the power to either take that person into the system and I forget the word and I'm sure you know it, but basically commit them. I forget the right term. But if that medical professional doesn't see fit to do that, or doesn't, in all honesty, want to do the paperwork, they stabilize them on their meds and then they release them back into the wild. And it falls back on that social worker, who then has no power or authority to do anything again, and it becomes a cyclic problem. So if there's anybody that's got any idea how to fix that, social workers would be very appreciative. But as far as rolling out supplies and batteries, especially in a long-term emergency, maybe if these people are sheltered in place and they're doing okay, they just need, reserve stuff brought to them. There are a large group of people out there that would do it. And now I got to go to a meeting, but that's about all I had to say.
Thanks,
and
Mike.
thank you all for being a part of this.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in. We appreciate it. I wanted to jump into teens for a minute as well. We have a few minutes left to kind of discuss on this. And again, like I said, in my kind of attempts to organize our last discussion and think it through, I realized, the MCFRC traditionally, because our funding has been focused around young children, this is not an area that the MCFRC has done a lot with, although we used to have the MyC3 group, and that was through a different grant, kind of a little separate entity. But I know we have some of the schools on here and would love to hear any thoughts about other groups that we need to engage to find out more about teen needs, or do we feel like we have a good beat on the needs and think through like what is something the collaborative might do to make progress around this? I know the schools, you guys have some things that you're working on, and we're excited to be working with El Tejon more closely. But any reflections on kind of teens or kids around mental health? And yeah, Kim, would you like to chime in?
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in, and I am looking forward to hearing what some of the schools have to say in regards to what their needs are. But I just wanted to quickly share some of the things that we are able to do over here at Community Ed in regards to the schools. So in our local middle school here in Saugus, they have a program called Social Emotional Learning Program, and they have a class called 7th grade seminar, and it's sort of a mishmash of different topics, just things that they would never learn in another class. So twice a year, once each semester, my colleague and I, Jody, she teaches nutrition and exercise, and I teach a body image class. So we kind of touch on the mental health with young people. And I also wanted to make a comment, and I'm not an expert on this, but I have, in regards to the increase of schizophrenia, perhaps at this middle school level is a good time to be talking, when it comes to marijuana use, and it's, implicated in using marijuana while the brain is still developing is implicated in a lot of schizophrenia diagnoses. So that's just one thing I wanted to throw out there. At our high schools, I believe almost all of our high schools have what's called like a safe space for some kids to go to. I'm just throwing out a bunch of different things since we're on the topic of mental health. In regards to our senior centers, myself and my colleague, we go to our local senior centers once a month, once every other month, and give a talk. We do provide mental health classes online. Mindfulness is great. It's a great class that a lot of people enjoy. Our grief support group, we started on Wednesdays. It's every week, is growing. We're really happy to be able to provide that to our community, and our chaplain at our hospital runs it. And finally, May 20th is our second annual Stop the Stigma Walk here in Santa Clarita. We have not found a location yet, but by the time I see you all next month, we are planning on coming in person. I'm hoping to have a location that I'll be able to share with you all. So that was a lot of comments. I've been taking notes, and I have to teach a class in a few minutes. So I just wanted to throw all that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, that was great. And I do have a flyer too that you guys had shared with some of your mental health classes that I wanted to pop into the chat. Yeah, as we kind of wrap up our discussion for now about mental health, I'm wondering if there's any other comments or things that came to mind, things that you would like to see the collaborative kind of dig into further.
Sorry,
Oh yeah, go for it, Corey.
Katie and I are in the same room, so we have to like watch out what we're saying.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
there are a lot of other things we're doing through the community resource grant. We have a day a week where somebody from the resource center comes. Our focus right now is there were a lot of people who lost their health insurance, which means their mental health services are interrupted when there was a change in the law. And so the school is working with the resource officer to help get those families back on to, because they still qualify, basically, most of ours still qualify, so that they can continue without interruption in the services. We also have a SEL program, so students are learning the 5 competencies of the CASEL so that they can like self-regulate and work through their issues a little more proactively, I guess. And then we do have something called Safe School Ambassadors, which is a program that trains all students how to identify bullying and stop it at the student level. And we have 2 leadership academies. We have an AVID Leadership Academy as well as FFA, who have also gone through pretty extensive this year state conferences on the leadership skills needed to identify students suffering with mental health issues and report in a way that keeps everybody confidential. So those are just some things we're doing at the student level. Our goal with the community schools is to branch out to families that our students are, like know or are related to. So it is really the idea of servicing the whole community at our school.
Yeah. Great. You guys are doing a lot of great stuff in that area. I really appreciate that. Yeah, can you guys hear me? Yeah, you're doing a lot of great stuff in that area. So I really appreciate that. As you can tell, mental health, with even these like small kind of incremental discussions, it's just such a huge topic. It affects so many things and so many different populations up here. So, but I really would like for us to take away, you guys are all participants in our collaborative. If you have an idea and you think the collaborative could work together on X, a specific initiative, I mean, we have to obviously do things that are doable this year, but I would love to hear from you if this has churned any particular things that you think we could partner together on. As Corey mentioned, the Family Resource Center is now 1 day a week at, we have an advocate at the middle school to be working with families and hopefully helping to facilitate some workshops and things for the students as well. So we're really excited about that. And so now it's time for our kind of roundtable time. And I threw several things in the chat, files that you can grab if you're interested. And so I'll share those really quickly, and then we'll kind of go around for people who have things to share. So the Family Resource Center is hosting the Chamber of Commerce Mixer on the 20th of April. And so that's at 6 o'clock, and we'd love to have anyone there. We also, of course, have our in-person collaborative meeting next month. And I'm gonna put a little short link in the to a Google form that if you're planning on coming, just for us to help plan snacks and seating and everything, I'd love to get kind of a rough head count. We also have a park day coming up in June. And so that's way far out there, but wanted to invite collaborative members to come. It's going to be a kind of resource fair this year. And so we'd love to have participants there. Also, there's an annual Valley Veteran Film Fest that Mel Weinstein is helping to put together, and he sent over that.
May I
also
speak to
oh
that?
yeah, go ahead, Kathleen.
All right, Mel Weinstein, I'm related to him. Julian Wilson is a filmmaker. He makes films about veterans. They are the veterans' memories of why they served. And so the Fox Theater is presenting these films on June 20th, and it's free. And we'd love to get veterans and families of veterans and people who want to thank veterans to come free at the Fox Theater. So watch for more information.
Yes, wonderful. Yes, okay, so Kim, did you want to jump in? Or maybe your hand was just raised from the last time, Kim. Okay, and then Cassie.
Hi, all. So I was so happy that Yarnell was able to join us this morning. As she's mentioned, she was with our Seniors Law Center. But I also want to take the opportunity to introduce, and I don't think that she was on in the beginning when we did introductions, but Ariana Kills is our new mobile home advocacy attorney. And so I want to take a moment to just introduce her to the group and let everybody know that those are two areas that we really want to try to focus on moving forward in this year in your guys' community, is making sure we provide not only the services, I mean, for all of our programs, but a very high concentration of elder individuals in the area, as well as mobile home residents. So I just want to take that moment to introduce Ariana and have a chance for her to just introduce herself to the group. And then Ariana and Yarnell I have included for all future meetings. So I look forward to the potential collaboration we can have and really making that effort to come up and see you guys more frequently and have a more frequent presence in the community.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, Ariana, did you want to jump in? Let's see. All right, so who
Yes,
else?
can everyone hear me
Oh,
okay?
there we go. Oh yeah, there we go. Now I can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. Sorry, I'm working remotely, so there might be a little lag outside of the office, I mean. So yes, my name is Ariana Keels. I'm one of the provisionally licensed advocates at GBLA. And so I work specifically for the Mobile Home Advocacy Project. So I help mobile home owners, so people that live in mobile home parks that own their mobile home and rent the space below it, or people that are living in mobile home parks and rent their mobile home, or in the alternative, people that are renting a mobile home, but it's on its own, private lot. So our grant is funded by the State Bar of California. So we have, good funding just to focus on those communities specifically. And so we help with the advice and counsel up through representation on a number of issues. I know with the housing, with the weather, there have been some housing issues in regards to like habitability. So if you know anyone that could use those services, definitely refer them to GBLA's general intake line, and they'll be referred to my program, as well as unlawful detainers and evictions. I work specifically with eviction matters for people that are living in mobile homes as well. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Yarnell also helps with like Cassie said, and I'm sure Yarnell introduced herself earlier, she works with seniors, but my program kind of overlaps across, all ages.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you so much. And we'd love to have GBLA at our June 17th resource fair. So that would be great to have you guys. Yeah, John. Nice. John.
All right, so I put a link in the chat this Saturday at Cal State Bakersfield. I, along with Betty and a couple others, will be at a big emergency preparedness event at Cal State Bakersfield. So please look at the link and stop by the Aging Adult Services table and come say hello.
Great, thank you. Yeah, and Kevin?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I don't know if I've mentioned maybe last month's meeting, but First Five Kern is hosting our second annual ACES conference, which is coming up in May. I'm going to put a flyer for that in the chat. It's just $25, but it comes with lunch, continental breakfast. We have some guest speakers, some breakouts. And we have a keynote speaker as well, Horacio Sanchez, and he is expert in trauma and resiliency in the classroom. So we have a pretty good mix of breakout sessions that we're working on. It's not quite a full day, but it is in person here in downtown Bakersfield. So I'll throw that flyer up in the chat. And then I also want to mention real quick that the clock is ticking on our current fiscal year, which ends at the end of June, and I still have some community event dollars to hand out. So if you are hosting an event that focuses on children 0 to 5 or their families, I'll put that link in the chat as well. Please consider it. We have funding. If a small level funding, it's up to $5,000, but I will put that in there as well. So welcome folks to apply if you have something coming up. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Kevin, for being here. All right. Anyone else? We are at time, but if there's anyone else that had anything they came to share and provide information on.
Sure. Let me, I'm pretty sure this is Paku from the California Telephone Access Program. We provide adaptive phones for people with disabilities. We also do smartphone training. And then I shared the state's discounted internet and Lifeline program flyers. It's still, there's still people out there. I know a lot of you have heard me speak about it, and maybe your agencies and are already familiar with it, but there are still people out there that are not aware of the discounted broadband service. It's really simple, very easy. All they need to do is contact their service provider and get that. The 800 number is included in the flyer. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to myself or the information in the flyer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Paku, for joining us. All right. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. And if there's any last things, you can always email me as well. I'll be sending out a follow-up email with the minutes and some of the flyers that people have provided. So I appreciate all your attendance and participation.
Thank you, Lindsay. We'll see you guys next month.
Thank you, Lindsay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a great one. Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you, Betty.